Like in the heart, hoe die mense vir jou kyk. Dis al ook skamvol en so van hulle kyk jou asof jy 'n boemelaar is. Ja, volgens jy nou niks het om te doen nie. Of struggles, maar laat ons maar nie gaan steel en goed en doen. Dit stout maak nie. Jy sal nie elke dag regkom nie. Dit hang af hoe jy jou goede innerlijk collect als je gelukkig is en zo. Ons maar praat van als je gelukkig is van. Want het is bijna wat struggle.
Soms ik denk ook, als ik net werking krijg en net voorhand gaan met die werk samen, maar daar is een hoopje zo, hoe kan ik maken? Is hoe ik nou op de straat nou zo kom samen.
Op een goede dag kan ik zo 200 en iets kan krijgen per dag. Of zo 150 per dag. Dat is een goede dag. Wat mij bang maakt is omdat ik geen werk heb niet. Ja, maar ons wil eigenlijk dit voor eeuwig zo dit doen. Ik wil eigenlijk mijn leven moet veranderen en leven zoals die anderen mensen leven.
Bringing you arts and culture conversations this afternoon on Namibia Connect. Now, the 2026 edition of the Namibia Theatre and Film Awards is set to take place this week. Once again, celebrating local creative excellence and cultural impact and honoring the individuals and productions that shape the nation's creative and cultural sector. Othilia Mungoba is nominated for the Best Documentary category. Of course, also was nominated in the Best Web Series and Best Newcomer Director category. And of course, the documentary that you're just watching now, the trailer there, was of course that of her production titled The Weight of Tomorrow. Othilia, it's always a pleasure to be speaking to you. Welcome back.
Why am I Othilia today? Normally it's Tutu.
Normally it's Tutu, but I mean, I don't know why the job wants me to be too formal.
Darling. So it's kind of cheesy.
It's kind of cheesy.
You know, in our industry, everybody has like their brand name. So it's become like Tutu now, although it's Othilia Mungoba.
Of course.
Everybody refers to me as Tutu. I think many times, even when we used to do productions and we used to go to State House, and you know, the head of state would say, no, Tutu is where we're keeping it. So we've been baptized as such. So, but lovely to see you, my friend.
Lovely to see you too.
As we say in Namibia, Happy New Year.
I know.
Happy Valentine's Day
until
Independence Day. Then when we get to Independence Day, then we're like, okay. Then we're done with Happy New Year celebrations.
Keeping it at that Independence Day, and that's the final time we're saying Happy New Year to one another.
Yes.
Lovely to see you once again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Always. Thank you. Humbling.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this nomination first and foremost. How does it feel like for you?
Very surreal. The ceremonies are coming back when the industry is realigning. So, like you said in your introduction, it's really about honoring not myself, but the dudes and dudettes that are behind the scenes and that are really pushing the weight, the foot soldiers of the industry. So I'm super excited. I think everybody's looking forward to the 28th of March for the red carpet, the glitz, the glam. But I think it's really about celebrating the men, the women of the Namibian Film and Theatre Awards.
Absolutely. You've been very passionate about producing documentaries, and let's talk a bit about the journey as far as, you know, some of the projects you've done, The Weight of Glory, to, of course, what you've done as well, Behind the Goalpost, another documentary you've worked on. That documentary you've also worked on, of course, also on the former First Lady, as well as Russia Hammer as well. Let's talk about that journey until to where we are now. How has it been like for you?
Nobody prepares you. If you have a timeline, you know, we're in this field that we do. So if you have a timeline, there are certain series and certain sequences of your timeline that you'll never get to see. You need to go through the story. You need to go through the journey. It's been humbling. I don't advise it for anyone, but I do advise it for the brave. And also, of course, for the stupid. You need to bypass a lot of thinking processes when you do this. As you know, I left my corporate job really to venture on this on this thing that was pulling me towards storytelling. It has always been like that for me. As you know, my career spans over 30 years, but I started off in theatre. Then obviously went on to television, went on to radio, went on to print, went on to advertising, and then back onto news and current affairs, actuality, productions. And then, of course, then it culminated to where I am now. The feeling, Yenna, I never knew it would be so delightful. I think there are many stories to tell in Namibia.
Indeed.
Namibians are dynamic people. The food we eat, the languages that we speak, the wonderful idiocracies that makes us us. So I'm lucky to be a fly on the wall. I'm very honored.
Absolutely. I mean, and it seems like it doesn't stop. The ball
it
keeps on
doesn't.
rolling.
It
And as you say,
doesn't.
the Namibian stories never get to stop. We shouldn't stop telling our stories. But, let's talk about perhaps one of the recent productions or projects that you, of course, worked on. Let's talk about perhaps the Russian project that, of course, is yet to make its first debut on our screens.
The first public premiere, yes.
Absolutely.
So we started shooting Rashiyama, The Man, the Music, in 2024, 2025, when we're doing the build-up for 3 decades of sound with the late Tateras.
Right.
So it was really just to document who he was and candid, frank, stern, honest conversations with the late Tate. And of course, to show Namibia a side that they've never seen before. So we started so we've been shooting over a period of 8 months with Tateras. Everything behind the scenes that people have not seen before.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the time of his passing, we were then due to premiere in like a month's time. So then the story took a life of its own, which is very dynamic, which is very beautiful. So in Rashiyama, The Man, the Music, there's no reference to there's very little reference to Rashiyama in the past tense, because he leads the story. He's the key storyteller. It's a key thread in the editing sequences.
Absolutely.
So it's been trying. What people don't tell you is that as a storyteller, your subjects grow on you. I'm sure when you're here and you're interviewing individuals, there are people that really have an impressionable impact on you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So imagine if you've been following somebody around for a year and then they are no more. And then you have to go sit and you have to go through those reels, through the footage and through their music and through their pictures and through what people say about them. I was never prepared.
How did it impact the production then that you, of course, had to work on his passing?
We had to rechange the storyline. Tateras was very much adamant about how he wanted his story to be told. He wanted to tell it in his own voice. But upon his passing, we had to get character witnesses that we could really speak to who the man, the music was. So since the first premiere, which was just like a soft premiere in October, which was due to the collaborations between myself, to Creative Concepts, and the Namibian Arts Association. We had it in October. So again, Namibia Film Commission came on board. I said, guys, I need some coins to do some extra interviews with his parents, not with his parents, but with his sister, and also with his son, and then those people who were in exile with him. So some funds were made available after, you submit and then you pitch for it. And then we've done extra edits on it, so we've got extra archival material. So it's really taking a life of its own, and I really hope it does encapsulate the essence of who Rashiyama is. I do say that many people, I don't have a signature style when it comes to my documentaries.
I know that.
The Weight of Tomorrow looks like The Weight of Tomorrow.
Indeed.
Fera is a jumble of a music video. And then there's Beyond the Goalpost, which is a sports documentary. So it's done like a sports documentary. But with Rashiyama, The Man, the Music, really it's like a very lengthy reggae music video that you're watching. It has a lot of vintage stances to it, editing style also to it, but it really encapsulates the memory of who Tateras was. So I'm super excited for that one. So that one, we're premiering it on Friday.
This coming Friday.
At NAS, because NAS is one of the collaborators for the film week happening this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if we didn't stop there, there's another production is, of course, working on. Let us into what you're working on.
I do tell you, currently I'm writing now. I've gone back to theatre. When you and I met in 2018, I was doing my first debut.
No, I was an intern. What a journey, eh?
I was doing my debut theatre piece. So currently I'm 70% in with another group of creatives writing a very controversial piece that...
Controversial?
Yeah.
Let
me put the tagline, "Rot," in it. So, so we're busy writing a theatre staging for that one.
All right.
So that's where we're at. I think people are used to the notion of blocking creatives in. There's so many parts to it. There's so many things that makes us. We are pages and we are like an onion. We have many layers to it. So So that's what I'm currently working on. But then, of course, what people don't know, or that those in the industry know, I'm doing a lot of governance and framework development.
Yeah.
So I sit on a couple of boards, and then, of course, on an advisory capacity also with government and other private institutions as to how we can streamline activities that really for the betterment and for the, a better tomorrow for Namibian creatives all rounder.
Absolutely. I mean, coming back to the awards, these awards are returning after several years
Dude,
of a long wait. And of course, the return means quite a lot to Namibian theatre and also just the industry at large. What does this mean to you to actually have this recognition back, to our creatives who are doing so much to actually tell the Namibian story?
It may sound cheesy, delayed but not denied. The awards really form a platform of elevating the voices and obviously, like I said, celebrating the ones behind the scenes, but then also the administrative element also of the industry. I do tell you that none of my documentaries have made it past the borders. If they have, it's only as part of a showcasing, not as a festival. I was very much adamant on doing that. Many creatives who come up with movies or documentaries or films are really rushing to have their work exposed on the international platform. So you have a documentary out, but your people in Koregas have never seen your documentary, or your people in Nowamboland have not seen your documentary. You have got somebody who is 10 years old, who's attending school at People's Primary School, and this person has a love for writing, but they've never seen an epitome of what it is to be a Namibian creative, whether it's a playwright, a director, sound engineer, camera operator, presenter. So there's a big gap between what you see on television, what you see on the big screen, to how you can bring it closer to the Namibian population. And the younger demographic is really what we're working with. So I don't know, you probably know that I've got the school screening project happening. We did the pilot last year, we did 3 schools. So this year we're also going to be taking Namibian stories to the schools, which is your grade 7 and your grade 11s and your grade 10s. Really, and then of course at those sessions.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much, my friend.
Absolutely.
And at those sessions, we have creators of sorts that come and speak to the kids, whether it's a jeweler, whether it's a writer, whether it's a presenter. Maybe we might have you come through, to Havana to come speak to the kids in Oshuambo.
Of course.
So this is what we're looking at. So you have the staging of the awards, but then you've got grassroots level that's taking place. There's a big gap between the honorary night and the work that has been put in. So the honorary night is really just to pay homage and really to acknowledge those ones. And of course also really to say, okay, this is what we're doing. It's a good baseline to see where we are now as Namibia. And Memene Tumbo has been saying it over and over again. We need to pull up our socks. So creatives need to come to the table. So I'm super excited.
We're happy to see that, of course, a lot of creatives are showing that they want to come to the table and show their work. But would you say there's a big of a challenge in actually how Namibian creatives actually get to distribute their work as well?
Yeah, no, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. But with accessibility, whether it's to financing, whether it's to infrastructure, whether it's to equipment, whether it's to locations, but I think the biggest one is probably financing. But with the age that we're living in, and everybody can take a camera and go shoot. And the software and the apps that are available, you download it and stuff like that. So you can, but I think for me, the biggest issue right now for creatives is accessibility. I come again to saying this over and over again, that although English is our main medium of instruction in this country, a lot of programs need to be rolled out and decentralized. We must move away from the urban, because there's a lot of stuff that's coming through from the rural areas. Indeed. And people are, you find guys that have kids, 2, 3, 5 minutes kids. This guy can go to ShopRite in Ondangwa, and everybody is just snapping with him because he's a local creative that people can relate to. So it's relatability for the demographic, but also access to services, access to support. I think, and I know, creators don't like paperwork. Many times we in a bubble. and reading and, informing ourselves of how we could be better, how to dress, how to speak, how to conduct yourself, how to write an email, how to make a call, how to use your money. So if you're getting paid $100, so where's this $100 going to? Is it going to your super away? And the other one is for your taxi money to get you to NBC. How are you leveraging on that $100? So the conversation is multiple, it's multi-dimensional. And I just think it's now time for the corporate industry with government and also grassroots levels individuals to really sit at a table, because the conversation is very fragmented. A lot of policies are being made and developed around governance. But who is speaking to Tate Shivute, who is sitting in the north and who's playing a traditional instrument? That traditional instrument is going on to NBC radio. And that guy gets, he's supposed to get his royalties. But have we spoken to NASCAM if Tate Shivute's music is really registered with NASCAM? Do you understand what I mean?
Definitely.
So it's a web of collaboration that needs to happen. And 2026 really is a year for collaboration.
Absolutely. Looking at that and perhaps looking at a few years to come, where do we see the industry growing to?
Currently, for me, in my opinion, and disclaimer, of course, I think Namibia is really like a teething baby. So, when a baby goes through the teething process, it cries, it nags, it's sick. But then, of course, it comes to the point when it now starts walking and starts holding on to things and, starts to identify itself as a human being. When they can say their name and write their name. That's where we are in the next 2 to 3 years. Online monetization really needs to come through. So the guys in the boardrooms and the guys in the meetings and the guys in the seminars and the guys in the workshops and the guys online, we really need to come to the table to really see how can people monetize, because there are people who are selling clothes, there are people who are telling stories, there are people who are producing music, and instant gratification. So you are in studio, you are recording, we shoot you, and then we put it onto a platform where people can have access to it, but you're not monetizing on it. Wow, the hypocrisy.
All your hard work.
Darling.
God.
So we really need to do better. The baselines are there. Namibia's got great collaborations, great bilateral, international, and also SADC relations as well. There are people in the industry outside Namibia who have made it work. So how can we learn? Because we're not reinventing the wheel. There's nothing really special about our industry. We just have to format the Namibian dogma of the creative sector for Namibia. But there's a lot of examples that we can take away from.
Absolutely. Apart from, the great creative work that you get to do, I love the fact that you really understand the industry so well from idea to full stop to paperwork and everything else that actually is so involved. But, when it comes to young Namibians, of course, trying to then pursue careers in the film industry, what is your advice to them? I mean, you earlier mentioned that, of course, you don't want or don't advise that any of them actually try to take this up because it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But what do you really have to say to them, especially those that are still in film school, in art school, trying to pursue this and trying to tell more Namibian stories?
Yeah, that's a heavy question. Number one, read. Number two, read. Number three, number four, read. Constantly. The industry is growing, molding, shaping. You grow, you mold, you shape with the industry by reading. Many times, many of us have a passion, a talent, but that talent is harnessed by skill. So if and this is why I'm very grateful for my family. They saw that I was a creative already from the age of 6. So my grandparents put me in dance. I was in debate when I was in high school. I did drama. I did poetry. I gave them headache. I was talking to the bottles and the cans and the everything. But they really saw it in me. Yeah. So I would do my normal activities, but then I would go to classes that would harness that. So.
Which I think also is a call to all our parents.
It's a call, really.
So also then start harnessing this arts, but really just paying attention to our children more and where the direction is as far as art is concerned.
My neighbor has a daughter who draws very well, and she likes building stuff. So I said, she's 10. There are high schools, affluent high schools in Windhoek, but that's also another story for another day, that really harness that skill. By the time the person gets to the final year of high school, they could go on to becoming a draftsman, doing landscaping, being an architect. So to answer your question, the talent, the passion should be married with the skill. The only way that you can do that is really by reading, by looking at baselines and doing what other people are doing and how you can make it your own. Why are you dressed this particular, why are you not dressed in pajamas when you're reading the news? There's some standardization that people need to get used to. Will you listen to a presenter who's dressed in pajamas? No. So let's get on par with what the protocols are. Read, and it doesn't hurt for you really just to take the first step forward, pick yourself up, and say, okay, this is what I learned, and this is what I didn't do. So continuous repetition. It's not a fly by night, ne? It's really not a fly by night.
Takes a long time.
You are a perfect example. So let me take a pause to say, you are a perfect example of what the industry mascot is. You knew that you had the passion, you knew that you had the talent, you went to school to harness this, and then you took your time to work your way through the ropes. From a production assistant, T-boy, driver, running around, carrying water bottles, to writing scripts. And look at where you are now. Nobody sees that journey, but us who have been with you behind the scenes, we know it takes work. It really takes work. There's nothing as instant gratification. Not even a child that is made like that. It's a process. So the molding, the shaping is where the magic lies. Allow the magic to really live out itself.
Absolutely. Well, you just took me back there.
I did. I know.
I love it for you still. But, you know, I think one of the most appreciative projects that I really am proud of you about is the one of the late Rashihama, of course, which is, of course, what you can expect this coming Friday. But is there anything else that your audience can perhaps also look forward to, apart from, you know, the wonderful nominations that you've gotten? Hopefully an award come out of that.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, toes crossed as well. So besides the awards happening on the 28th, we step back to what's happening this week. We have Film Week happening. There's an ensemble of local showcasing of screenings that are happening by Namibian creatives who are locally based and who are also internationally based. There are masterclasses that are happening. There is a lot of mentorship that's available for those ones who are in high school or primary school or in tertiary and would like to come and speak to people who are in the industry, what they can expect, what they should look forward to. Film Week presents that opportunity. So I'm really imploring and encouraging people to go onto the different social pages of the Namibian Film Commission, but then also the awards, also the Namibian Theatre Film Awards. They also have their own platforms. Go out, follow them, tag them, you know, all those type of things. So for my end, Rashihama, the Man, the Music, will be having its official public screening on Friday at the HTTPS building. That's at 8 o'clock this coming Friday. So, like I said, NASA's really been collaborating to be, you know, the venue for showcasing all these things. And then, of course, you know, most the brave Our Ladies won.
Of course.
Darling.
Beyond the goalpost.
So, for people who like sports, and especially women in soccer, I'm really inviting men and women, young and old, to come on Sunday at 1:30. Also at NUST, so the directions if you're going to be lost on the main campus as to where you can come and view Beyond the Goalpost. It's a lekker one. It's really about trial, adversity, but really looking at the issues that women in sports are facing.
Timely as well, of course, looking at the COSAFA champions, of course, being the brave gladiators. I think, you know, you've spoken so much through your story, so much into the future, and something that's very, very inspirational and timely. So very, very proud of you as a friend, as a big sister. You've been quite inspirational in so many ways, and congratulations once again to, of course, your nominations. I want to have another conversation with you with both awards right here in studio.
Yes, bigger, better.
Course.
All the best, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Othilia Mungoba, of course, is joining us in studio this morning, talking to us about the recent nominations, or other nominations for Best Documentary category, and also in the Best Web Series and Best Newcomer Director, of course, for the upcoming Namibia Theatre and Film Awards that is set to take place this week. Of course, very, very implored to, of course, look at some of the work that she has been doing, and of course, what's also expected, a film, rather a public viewing of Rashihama, the Man, the Music, that's taking place at NUST this Friday at 8 p.m. All information are going to be very easy to find if you follow her on her social media, and you can find out how you can be part of this very important screening of the late Ras Shyama's, of course, documentary. We're back after this with more interviews on NAMIBIA Connect. Stay with us.